You should never go to Alaska as a young person because you'll never be satisfied with any place as long as you live. The point of the quote is just how transformative Alaska can be. And certainly for me, that was the case when I was 19 years old.
Pretty much moved to Alaska 2 months ago. I'm originally from New York. I actually spent the last 2 years in Florida, so it's quite the change.
When I was 19, I was going to school in Florida to get into the world of video production. And I've sort of fell into this niche of documentary style filmmaking and videography in particular. And I kind of loved the run and gun nature of that sort of scene. And, I really didn't know what I was going to do with that. I was kind of just I wasn't even figuring things out. I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants at the time. And I was more of like a beach type of person more than anything else. Alaska certainly wasn't on my radar at the time. That is extremely far from Florida. And my operating knowledge of Alaska when I was 19 was probably like Disney movies that I had seen growing up. And then this job posting for a videographer position in Alaska came up. It was seasonal, tourism focused, so videography in the run and gun, very off the cuff documentary style filmmaking realm. And I ended up applying to this position, and mind you, my only real footage at the time, my demo reel, was just made up of scenes around Florida, so very, very different, and I hadn't really worked in that many professional capacities at the time being. So I ended up submitting my resume and everything, and I got an interview. And I still remember being in my college apartment. I threw on like this one polo that I had. It was like this weird orange color. And I guess that worked because I ended up getting offered that position. And I was actually contemplating 2 jobs at the time. It was either doing that or being a videographer for weddings. That was another job offer that I got, and I probably would have made a lot more money in the short term if I had chosen to do that. And I remember being by the pool with my family the day of graduation, like right after the entire graduation ceremony, and sending the acceptance email that I would be taking this job in Alaska. And I kind of sent it off the cuff. I just had a strong feeling that this was a calling more than it was me accepting a job. Like, it was something that I really needed to do. Just a few days later, I almost backtracked the entire thing. I was kind of terrified over the whole thing. I emailed the contact at this company that I wasn't sure about the creative differences between what I was creating at the time. And the company came back to me, and they were really, really nice about kind of calming down all of those creative differences that I perceived that I had, but really I lacked confidence at the time and didn't know what I was gonna do, honestly. So then I shared this news with friends and family, and this was received differently across the board. I'm really grateful that my parents were supportive of the whole thing. Of course, very sad about me going so far across the country, but I think they knew that it was something that I kind of needed to do. I also remember talking to my brother on the porch of the home that we grew up in, and I was just like, bro, that's it. I'm taking this job in Alaska. I don't even remember what his response was. I want to say he was kind of just a little silent, confused about the whole thing. And then I found myself just days later heading to JFK Airport and boarding a flight to 4,000 plus miles away to Alaska, Juneau, Alaska to be exact. We were completely socked in. I mean, I really could have been anywhere. It was cloudy, raining, and I just remember kind of being terrified about what I had just walked into. Alaska itself is just such an extreme outdoors focused place, and let me tell you, like, everyone was so kind when I first got there, but it still felt like a massive culture shock coming from New York and Florida were really the only 2 places that I ever lived prior to that. And being 19, you're kind of stepping into this unknown. It is a little terrifying, if I'm being honest. I didn't really know how this was going to end up, but the kindness of the people around me and the willingness to kind of teach certain things helped so much. So The second day that I was there, it kind of all shifted. The company that I was there working for, which was essentially hiring me to go around the state and film a bunch of different excursions, a dream job for sure. The second day, they asked me to go on this ice caves tour onto Mendenhall Glacier. I had never been on a glacier, let alone underneath a glacier. So we're paddling out to this glacier. I'm filming the entire thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? This is insane. This is really freaking cool. So we get to the caves and walk underneath this glacier into these ice caves. And it was just the most magnificent thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. These indescribable blues and things that just looked straight out of a movie, except that like every direction you looked was just an insane picture. And honestly, there are a handful of times in my life where I feel like I thought to myself, all right, I'm in the right place and I kind of belong here. And that was one of those moments. From there, we spent the rest of the summer traveling across Alaska, filming different excursions. I had encounters with bears. I had encounters with incredible people who had the most unique stories. There was one woman that I met that her daily commute, you had to hike over this mountain just to get to her car and then drive to work. And I loved everybody's approach to life there. There was an element of simplicity, but also the grandeur of the outdoors. And I mean, truly Alaska is like the greatest form of that. There's so much untouched wilderness beyond what the eye can see, and that also made me just fall in love with the wild so much, wildlife and wild landscapes. And eventually this season came to an end and I had to leave Alaska, and I left with some of the best footage that I've ever gotten in my entire life from all around the state. And that led to different job opportunities. I definitely got to travel the world because of that demo reel. And even though I don't live in Alaska today, it still very much lives in me, whether it be through this Southeast Alaska map that I have behind here, or different clothes that I wear that kind of have homage to Alaska heritage and things like that. And I still talk about it probably way too much, and I kind of feel bad for friends that have to hear it from me. But I have been back to Alaska many times since I was 19, and actually this past summer I got to go back and I went to some of the same spots that I went to when I was 19 and kind of just stood and looked in awe of similar landscapes and still had that same appreciation and reaction. So if you have the opportunity, definitely recommend checking Alaska out. If you have any similar stories, please drop a comment down below. Would love to hear from you all. Also, let me know in the comments how this video is received, because I have never done a video like this where I'm like sharing a personal story. So I guess I would kind of just love to hear some kind of feedback. And if you got anything out of this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new here. One of my biggest dreams is to drive out to Alaska, so I plan to do that in the next year or two. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you out there on the road.